Alright guys, so we're obviously kind of in the middle of doing the whole build on the 1999 Yamaha Blaster behind me.
I always call it massive. Sometimes they say huge.
And I figured I would kind of do a little short video on just an upgrade that some of you guys might be wanting to do, and you might not be interested in this full build, and it might help you out. So the issue I'm running into is when I got this machine, it did not have a headlight on the front of it. It did not even have the bracket for the headlight to mount in. So I was able to get that bracket off eBay. If you guys have tried doing the same thing, you've probably seen that finding the actual headlight housing is extremely hard to find. And it's very hard, well, on eBay anyway, and there really isn't any aftermarket makers that make a remanufactured one. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. And the ones that you do find have like the chrome bezel, it's all corroded and rusted. And then a lot of times the glass housing, because they were glass from the factory, those will end up being cracked. So what I ended up doing is I bought a pair of Banshee headlights. These were relatively inexpensive. They're not OEM, they're just some from Caltrick on eBay. I want to say it was about 30 bucks for the pair. So we're going to put these on the Blaster. I think they look better than the factory square Blaster headlight anyway, but you can probably guess that the issue is going to be trying to figure out how to mount them. So you could take a big spacer and come out from there, because as it sits, I mean, it fits up there perfectly if you want to point it straight at the sky. There's really no good way to put it. And if you're using this bracket and you want it out to where it would sit, yeah, there's a pretty big gap there. So unless you do a big spacer, and then it's probably going to be just kind of bouncing on the edge there. The way this factory mount works, you got two bolts on either side. Yes, I know I'm missing one there, but that's going to give you a lot of rigidity on that bracket. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take and cut off, well, that thing's probably broken now. Take out and cut off the top of this mount here. And then, yeah, it did kind of come apart. Well, we'll fix that here in a second.
Dang it, Bobby, that's exactly what we don't want.
Then this should sit pretty much perfectly in line. Sit right up on there. I think it'll work great. So go ahead and whack those off.
That's what she said.
So I spent a little bit of time making kind of small cuts, cut off the bulk of what I thought I needed to cut off, and then just kind of made some minor adjustments. But basically, when you're all done, this should be kind of how it looks like. You got your deal here where your bolt's going to go through, and you want it almost, like you can see there, flush and kind of rounded around. And the reason why, I'll show you on this one I've already got mounted. You can see you got very minimal clearance here, but it kind of fits the contour of the back of this headlight. And so you got a little adjustment there, but basically that'll get you where you want to be. You can rotate it back if you want, but it gives you a little adjustment there. And then I did go ahead and throw a nut in here with a couple washers on either side, just as a spacer. You could mount it on the inside and get away with no spacers, but at that point, your two headlights are literally going to be touching each other on the inside, and it's going to be very tight squeeze. I played around with it, didn't like the way it looked. I like the way it looks with them being kind of further out. So I'll go ahead and throw on this other one. And just to show you guys, this is still very stout without having that bar in the center. So don't have to worry about that. This is going to mount up, be really nice. We'll get this other one mounted up, show you guys how it looks. This is what they look like, all mounted up. And as you can see, there's a rubber bushing on there that allows them to have a little bit of flex. That's what you want. But other than that, these mounts are rock solid. I mean, you got two bolts still there. That is not going anywhere. It'll hold them just fine. And then gives it a really nice look, in my opinion, of course. But all you're gonna do, you got the two pigtails that they come with if you had, obviously, Banshee wiring harness. But nothing saying that you have to, because you just cut all three wires. You're gonna splice your two yellows and your two greens and your two blacks, each together. Your yellows and greens are going to go to your factory harness, which will be off of your headlight switch. And then your ground, you can ground it wherever you want. I'm just going to ground mine here on my voltage regulator. As you can see, we already got part of the factory harness grounded there. So we'll just kind of throw that guy in there and tighten her down. Just like so. And then yeah, that's really it, guys. You have Banshee headlights on there. That's a nice cage. Looks a lot more classic. I mean, you can go with a light bar, but to me, it's just kind of hard to beat that look. Not like I'm gonna really be needing the headlights a whole lot anyway, so kind of exactly what I wanted. That'll just kind of complete this old school look, where a light bar is really not gonna do that for it. Hope that helped you guys. If any of you were looking for some headlight replacements for your blaster, especially if you're like me and you want to pretend like you have a Banshee, but they're either too hard to find or, like in my case, I'm a little too poverty to get one yet. So this will give yours a pretty nice facelift. We'll see you guys.